Hello everyone, welcome to DSA 441 Cloud Computing. Today we are going to see about server load balancing and auto scaling. The previous lecture videos we saw about the uh, introduction about ECS, that is the Elastic Compute Service, and in another video we saw about a practical demonstration on how to create the ECS instances. And today we are going to see about the server load balancer and auto scaling. These are another two products with Alibaba Cloud, and we will see about the theoretical base of these products on how they are useful and in what scenarios we need to use. All those things we are going to see today with this lecture. So firstly we will look into server load balancer and then the auto scaling. The PowerPoint presentation used in this video is shared in the description box. You can check it from the description for getting a copy of this PowerPoint. In the Alibaba Cloud portfolio, the server load balancer is present in the network vertical of cloud infrastructure, and auto scaling is present in the elastic compute. The reason why we keep auto scaling and the server load balancer in this lecture is that it continues from the usage of elastic compute service. It is used to manage the number of ECS instances that has been created. So when we start about SLB or the server load balancer, we have a scenario like this. We have some number of people who are accessing the virtualized machine of ECS instance. Like when the number of people increases, then there will be a question of scalability, like how many people can be allowed at the maximum. So this is a kind of issue which has been associated with the ECS instances for a long time. So in order to solve this issue, we increase the number of ECS instances. Okay. In the previous scenario, we saw that there is only one ECS instance. In that case, we just channel out all the user requests towards that particular ECS instance. So in order to increase the number of scalable users, we increases the number of ECS instances over here. How in this case we will manage these ECS instances? How the user requests are channeled to each and every ECS instance? Which ECS instance will take the request from this particular user? In what basis the request from the users are channeled to one particular ECS instance? So these are all what we are going to see today. Server load balancer is a tool which is used to route the incoming request to multiple ECS instance. Many people have some misconception that ECS balancing using server load balancing and auto scaling are the same. It is not the same. I mean it uses some kind of routing in the case of server load balancer, but auto scaling is used for the other case of managing the number of ECS instances. So this server load balancer will act as a middleman between the user requests and all the ECS instances. So here in the picture we can see the user requests are obtained from the users and it goes to the server load balancer, and the server load balancer will channel out all the requests to the particular ECS instances. This server load balancer is a traffic distribution control service that distributes the incoming traffic among multiple scaling elastic compute service instances according to some particular configured forwarding rules. So we can set some rules on how this server load balancer has to function, and we have like four properties for this server load balancer. They are high availability, scalability, low cost and security. In the high availability means like we create the ECS instances in multi-zone, and multiple zones have like multiple server load balancer instances. In that case, the service availability is increased to the level of 99.95%. And because it is managing with the increasing in the number of ECS instances, it will scale your service without interrupting your service continuity. And also it will reduce the cost by 60% when compared to the traditional hardware load balancing systems. And in security, it has cloud security features of defending the DDoS attack of up to 5 gigabyte per second. So if the attacks are coming at the rate of 5 gigabyte per second, then there is a chance for this server load balancer to defend the DDoS attack, and then that's how the attack has been neutralized. In the server load balancer architecture, we have two types of architecture, layer 4 and layer 7. Layer 4 is associated with the TCP, that is the transmission control protocol, and the UDP, that is the user datagram protocol. And in the layer 7, we have the HTTP protocol and the HTTPS protocol associated with the load balancing services. When it comes to the layer 4, that uses a Linux virtual server or LVS, and then it directly goes to the ECS instances through the TCP and UDP protocol, because it works at the level of layer 4 itself. And the layer 7, it uses the HTTP or HTTPS traffic. It will request the traffic through the internet, and this request also goes through the layer 4, but after going to the LVS cluster or the Linux virtual server, it crosses through the Tenjin cluster, which has a web server which is based on Nginx, and then it goes through the key server, and finally it goes to the ECS through the layer 7 of the ECS. So this is how the two different architectures of server load balancing is seen. When we see in the server load balancer architecture in layer 4, it supports both the TCP and UDP. The incoming client connection is bound to server connection, and there is no server header modification. But in the case of layer 7, it supports both HTTP and HTTPS. When we think about HTTP and HTTPS, it is like we have the normal internet browsing, that is the HTTP, and if we have like some secure link, that is the HTTPS, it manages both these connections, and the connections are terminated at the load balancer, and then they are pulled to the server, and the headers here that can be modified. In the previous layer 4, we say like there is no header can be modified, but here we can modify the header, and they are X forwarded for the header that contains the client's IP address. So these are all what mentioned with the layer 7 load balancing. Now we see the SLB components. To use the server load balancer service, we should create a server load balance instance, and it should have at least one listener and 2 ECS instance configured. So in order to create one particular server load balancer, firstly we need to create a 2 ECS instance, which we saw on how to create in the previous video, and then we need to have at least one listener in the server load balancer, and that's how the one particular server load balancer can be managed. The server load balancer instances are like they are running a load balancing service that receives and distributes the incoming traffic to the backend servers. Inside the server load balancer, we have some instances known as listeners. So these listeners will wait for the client request coming to the server load balancer, and they will then make the request to the backend servers, and it also will perform the health check on the backend servers. For example, in the figure we see that we have the load balancer which has the listener. These listeners will keep checking on the health of each and every ECS instance connected to that particular load balancer. Once it finds that there is some problem with the ECS instance, then it will be like it will try to change it, and it will change the route. And then we see about the backend servers. The backend servers is actually the ECS instances which we create with the server load balancer instance to process the distributed requests. So these are the server load balancer components associated. And then we have the components instance with the cost optimization. Currently in Alibaba Cloud, server load balancer only supports with the mode of pay as you go. There is no much of subscription and there is no preemptible instance. We need to go with the pay as you go. But there are two types of server load balancers available. If we go with private network, it works like a local area network. In that case, the usage of server load balancer is totally free. So this type of server load balancer can only be used in the private network environment or like a local area network or like an intranet kind of setting. And the private server load balancer is helpful when we adopt to a multi-tier architecture. But in the case of public network, it has a build instance based usage and the public network traffic. How much time we use that particular instance, it will be billed for that, and also the usage for the public network traffic. And then they are billed for exact volume or resources we actually use per hour, and there is no long term commitments for upfront payments needed. So these are the aspects with the public networks. You don't need to pay for everything, you can just pay with what you use actually. That's all about the server load balancer, and now we are going to see about auto scaling. Auto scaling is quite interesting to read, that it is mostly connected with the gaming kind of systems. In the gaming kind of systems, we have like a sudden spike and sudden surge in the number of users, and how to manage them with the ECS instance is dealt with the auto scaling. So how can we scale the services which are automatically to match the demand? There are two scenarios presented here. We have the video streaming and the gaming. When we take about the video streaming, it's like some videos we post in the social media or in your own servers. It may not have much popularity, but when it becomes viral, millions of users will try to watch the video at the same time. So in that case, there will be like a huge demand in the traffic. And in the gaming, there will be like some part of the day where the people will show more interest in playing games during that time. So during that time, it has to address with the scalability issues. So this auto scaling is mostly used for scalability issues, like it is used to manage the number of users who can access that particular computer or the server resource. We have two types of benefits. They are on demand and automated. In on demand auto scaling, we adjust the resources to fit the demand curve in the real time. We do not have to worry about on the computing capacity when the demand surges occur. So it will automatically add, or like based on some kind of rules or some kind of settings, it will create the ECS instances and delete the ECS instance. But in the case of automated system, it will automatically create and release the ECS instance. It doesn't need to follow any rule. Based on some kind of server load balancer settings, it will configure the server load balancer and the relational data service, and it doesn't need much of manual operation. There are some modes in auto scaling. We have the elastic scale-in. So this elastic scale-in, as we see here in the picture, we see the thin clients accessing the ECS instances through the load balancer, and the load balancer, the SLB server load balancer will channel out the request from these thin clients towards the ECS instances. And the auto scaling option we have here, which is the elastic scale-in, will see like if there is not many traffic into the network, then it will remove the ECS instances when the demand decreases. So it will just remove certain number of ECS instances if they are not in use, and then it will check the health of the ECS instance. Then we have the elastic self-healing. So this is happened when an unhealthy instance is detected, it will automatically replace it with a new one. So the auto scaling tool will keep checking for the health of each and every ECS instance. When an unhealthy node is detected, it will remove that ECS instance, but still we need to manage the network traffic in a more efficient way. So in that case, what it does, after removing the unhealthy node, it will add a new healthy node, that is a new healthy ECS instance. That is the job of elastic self-healing. So this automatically replace the unhealthy nodes with the new one. So this is the second option. And then we see the next option is elastic scale out. It will add the additional computing resource during the peak times. When the traffic is in high demand, then it will keep adding the ECS instances. The auto scaling is a management service that allows users to automatically adjust the elastic computing resources according to business needs and policies. So we have the cloud monitor, where the CPU load average is checked all the time. When the CPU load average is getting more than 80%, then that means it has a crisis with the scalability factor. That means it needs more processing, more number of requests needs to be processed. So in that case, what it does, it will add more ECS instances similar to the one which are existing, the same settings with the same region or the different regions. These ECS instances are like added, and again it will check. If the CPU load average is again above 80%, then it will keep adding more and more ECS instance. But after adding all these additional ECS instance, then there is a drop in the ECS instance. The load of CPU gets less than 30%. Then here, if you see in the picture, the cloud monitor will give an alert that the ECS instances can be deleted to maintain a CPU load average of 30%. So we keep reducing the number of ECS instances by releasing them from the auto scaling factor, and then it will check the CPU load average again. So if the load average is less than 30%, then it will again decrease the ECS instances. And we have the scaling operations. They are used for the scheduled scaling and the dynamic scaling. In the scheduled scaling, we tell the auto scaling platform to perform a scaling operation at a specific time. Like for example, we need like 50 ECS instances at 1 o'clock every day in the afternoon, then it will be like what we call as a scheduled scaling. But in the case of dynamic scaling, it will scale up and down based on the metrics we get from the cloud monitor, like the CPU usage and the network usage. The same thing which we discussed in this slide, like when the cloud CPU load average is getting more than 80%, then we add the ECS instance. But when the load average is getting less than 30%, then we remove the ECS instances which are applicable in this case. So that's what we see as the scaling operations. We do the scheduled scaling as well as the dynamic scaling. So the server load balancer auto configuration is also supported by the auto scaling, and also it will support the access of relational data service whitelist auto configuration. So these are all the auto scaling functions which are available. And then there are some concepts related to the auto scaling. We saw about the auto scaling, then we see about the scaling group. So this scaling group is a collection of ECS instances with a similar configuration deployed in an application scenario. It defines the maximum and the minimum number of ECS instances in the group. It is associated with the server load balancer and the RDS instances and other attributes. The scaling configuration defines the configuration information of ECS instances. The scaling rule is something which defines the scaling actions in specificity. For example, like for adding or removing of the ECS instance. A scaling activity is when a scaling rule is successfully triggered, some activity is generated, like adding the ECS instance or removing the ECS instance. So the rule will set like what to do, and activity is what it does it. And scaling trigger task is that the task that the trigger a scaling rule, uh, such as a scheduled task or the cloud monitor alert task. This is what we call a scaling trigger task. And then we have the cooldown period. This cooldown period um, will deal with the auto scaling. So this is like it is between any activity, the time it takes to release the ECS instances, to remove the ECS instances case, or even to add the ECS instance, it needs a cooldown time. So this cooldown time is what we mention as cooldown period over here. Now we see about the usage of auto scaling. We have like certain steps which involves the creation of a scaling group, create scaling configuration, enable the scaling group, then we create the scaling rule, then we create scaling scheduled task, and then we have the cloud monitor API to put the alarm rule. Firstly, we create a scaling group. It configures the minimum and maximum number of ECS instances in the scaling group, and we select the associated server load balancer and the RDS instances. So the server load balancer is the one which has to be configured with these ECS instances in the auto scaling. We need to set the minimum number of ECS instance and the maximum number of ECS instance, because when we keep adding the number of ECS instance, we cannot go beyond certain number of ECS instance that we can set in this one. And in case if it keeps reducing the ECS instance, even if the traffic is less than 30% and there are more number of ECS instance, if it is up to the level of minimum, then it doesn't need to remove the ECS instance. And for creating the scaling configuration, it configures the ECS instances attributes for the auto scaling, which includes the image ID and the instance type, and then it enables the scaling group with the scaling configuration which is created in the creation of scaling configuration. And then we have the scaling rule. This will add n number of ECS instances. This will create the scheduled task, for example, to trigger the scaling rule which is created for execution for a particular time. So this is what we call as the scheduled task. And then we have an alarm task. This is based on the cloud monitor based metric. So we need to add one ECS instance when the average CPU usage is greater than or equal to 80%. So this is what we call as the alarm task. So this is what we say about the auto scaling usage. And then we have some relationship between the core concept. The scaling group includes a scaling configuration, scaling rules, and scaling activities. Removing a scaling group also deletes the scaling configuration, scaling rules, and scaling activities associated with the scaling group. The scaling trigger task will fall into two categories: scheduled tasks and the cloud monitor alert task. Tasks are independent of the scaling group. Then in the scaling rules, we can automatically adjust the number of ECS instances according to the maximum size and the minimum size value of the scaling group. For example, the number of ECS instances is set to 50 in the scaling rule. It will not increase the maximum size of the scaling group, which is set to 45. It will set up to the level of 45 itself. It will not go beyond that value. And even if you are having 50 ECS instances, it will not go beyond 45 because the maximum value for the ECS instance is set to that way. And if the scaling rule will only able to increase the size of the scaling group to 45 instances alone. Then we have the cooldown time. During the cooldown period, only the scaling activity request from the cloud monitor alarm, the tasks are rejected by the scaling group, and other tasks such as manually executed scaling rules and scheduled tasks can immediately trigger scaling activities without waiting for the cooldown time to expire. The cooldown time starts after the last ECS instance is added or removed from the scaling group by the scaling activity. And in the scaling activity, only one scaling activity can be executed at the time in a scaling group. A scaling activity cannot be interrupted. For example, if a scaling activity adds like 20 ECS instances to being executed, it cannot be forced to terminate when only 5 instances can be created. When a scaling activity fails to add or remove ECS instances to form a scaling group, the system maintains the integrity of ECS instances rather than scaling activity. That means that the system will roll back to the scaling group, but only 19 ECS instances are added to the load balancer instance, and the system only releases the failed ECS instance. And the healthy ECS instance will be retained, that is all those 19 ECS instances. So since the auto scaling uses Alibaba Cloud Resources Access Management service to replace the ECS instances through the ECS API, the rolled back ECS instance will still incur a cost for the time they were running, and the scaling rule can automatically adjust the number of ECS instances according to the maximum size value and the minimum size value of the scaling group. And when it comes to the cost, auto scaling is a free service. All the instances in ECS that auto scaling automatically creates or manually adds to the scaling group will be charged according to the instance types. That means that for using that auto scaling as a tool is free, but the usage of ECS instances as a part of auto scaling is chargeable under pay as you go mode. We still have to pay with the pay as you go instance even after we stop them. So in order to avoid the fees from the ECS instances, we need to release all the ECS instances, then it will stop charging us. And now we see about on how to create a scaling group. On the scaling group list page, we create a scaling group. We click on that create scaling group. On the create scaling group page, we enter the scaling group name and then the maximum number of instances allowed for scaling unit and the minimum number of instances, how many ECS instance has the maximum and how many instances as minimum can be set in this one. One single ECS instance is created automatically upon the creation of the scaling group. We enter the default cooldown time, that is the removal policy, and the network type VPC. We select the server load balancer and RDS database instance information as needed. Then we have the query and modifying of a scaling group. The scaling groups have following lifestyle states, that is active, inactive and deleting. When modifying the scaling group, in the region the server load balancer RDS database cannot be modified. We modify the operations which can be executed only for scaling groups in the active or inactive states. The number of ECS instances in the scaling group does not meet the new max size or min size settings. The auto scaling adds or removes the ECS instances to and from the group until the max size or min size value is reached. Then in the enabling and disabling of scaling group, for enabling we can only enable the inactive scaling groups with the active scaling configuration. A single scaling group can have one active scaling configuration at a time. We can enable a scaling group auto scaling instances which is created with the existing number of ECS instances which is less than the minimum size value and enabled active scaling group. The auto scaling creates the pay as you go ECS instances until the minimum size value is reached. In order to disable the ECS instance, we can disable the ECS instances in the scaling group when only it is not executing any scaling activity, and the operation can be executed for active scaling groups. So this is the cloud monitor tool which we get. We set the notification method as getting from the cloud monitor, and we can set like what kind of notification which we need from the cloud monitor. And then for querying a scaling configuration, we have the two steps of active and inactive. The scaling group uses the active scaling configuration in the to create the ECS instance. Inactive, it is like the ECS instances are still in the scaling group, but they are not used to create the ECS instance. They will be still there, but they will not be used to create them. In creating a scaling configuration, the scaling configuration defines the configuration of ECS instances which will be added to the scaling group by scaling activities. Auto scaling automatically adds the ECS instances into the scaling groups according to the scaling configuration. We can modify a scaling configuration after it is created. The ECS instances created by the new scaling configuration will work as expected. We can create up to 10 scaling configuration for one scaling group. And in deleting the scaling configuration, the active scaling configurations cannot be deleted. It has to be stopped for a moment and then you have to delete it. This we could have seen in the demonstration of ECS instances video. I have already shown it. If a scaling group still contains the instances which are not created by the particular scaling configuration, then that scaling configuration cannot be deleted. So these are the features of deleting a scaling configuration. And to create the scaling rules, it defines a specific scaling actions, that is how many instances should be added or removed from the scaling group. As a result of executing the scaling rule, the number of ECS instances in the scaling group is less than the min size value or greater than the max size value. Auto scaling automatically adjusts the number of ECS instances to be added or removed. For example, a scaling group is created with a maximum size of 3, the total capacity is 2, then the scaling rule is set to add 3 ECS instances. In that case, the auto scaling will add only one ECS instance. It will not add all the 3, though it is set to add 3 ECS instances. But in the case of min size is 2, but the total capacity is 3. If you are supposed to remove 5 ECS instance, it will remove only one ECS instance, and it will not remove the remaining 2 because we have the minimum size as 2. And that's all for this week. I have explained about the server load balancer and the auto scaling tool. In the next video we will see about the object storage service and a demonstration on how to use that tool. That's all for this week. Thank you so much.